Listen, owing money, in my honest opinion, can be stressful, like big time stressful. Some people try to hide it. Some people think it's no big deal, but underneath is buzzing in their head without even realization sometimes. You owe money, you owe money, you owe money. Well, maybe not quite like that, but in the back of many people's minds, people want to be ahead of their bills. Let's talk about that today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. I want to talk to you today about getting 1 month ahead on bills. And believe me, I do believe it'll stop stressing some folks out. Seriously, just being ready. I'll give you an example. This is different. This has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about, other than there's a similarity. I create my shows 1 week ahead of time. So in real time today, it is Wednesday, April 23rd. You will not hear this video till Wednesday, April 30th. Why do I do that? I like to do things ahead of time so that I know it's all done. If I get totally busy and can't perform a video, they're there anyway. You guys will definitely have a show for next week. I like to look ahead. So, out of this habit of looking ahead, I like to cook ahead. I like to make sure the money's in check ahead. I write down my numbers month in, month out. Every month varies. Check over my budget, track my expenses. Expenses change from month to month. But there are some fixed bills that have to happen. You know it needs to happen every single month to keep afloat. So the idea being is to not just keep afloat, but to have a little more than that. All right. So let's get started with the idea of getting 1 month ahead of our bills. Well, how can you do that? First of all, you need to know what your expenses are. What are your actual and realistic expenses for the following month? What do you anticipate that you have to pay? Only you can answer that. Write it down. Take a minute, take a half hour, take an hour, whatever you need. Do it in a quiet place, maybe with a little music, a little hot cup of joe or tea, and just like really concentrate. Okay, so my suggestion is this: once you know that actual number, add a little more to that, okay? And call it miscellaneous. You can might maybe add to that number about $100 to $200 for in case of. Everybody should have a little bit more wiggle room, budget buffer in case of, okay? So let's pretend that your monthly expenses, including your rent, is about $2,500. You know that next month you need to shell out $2,500. Well, if you can add 100 to 200 more to that, 2,600, 27 as a buffer, that's great. Just to be ready, right? All right. So now that you know your expenses, what can you actually know will be available for next month? You go through everything. What's there? What do you anticipate coming in the beginning of the month? How can you pay your bills? With what? Need to know those numbers very importantly as well. If you come up short, then obviously that is the figure that you need to have readily available to increase. Well, Jan, how do I do that? I'm going to suggest something that not too many people talk about. Okay. It's not about a side gig. It's about taking on a temporary job assignment. I did some research, and there are probably less staffing offices than there were, like, let's say 15 years ago. Because in between, when I got laid off from that other job, remember the one I told you about, the medical one? Right away, I signed myself up for, I took about, I don't know, a couple of months off, maybe one month off. But right away, I joined an agency, a job agency, a temporary job agency, and I took on some assignments, okay, in the field that I was working with at that time. So that was great. You can consider joining if they still exist, okay? Say you just want to work to save up that 2,700 bucks that you know you want to have always fixed in your account just for bills. You're looking ahead. You want to be ready for the next month ahead. This is not only a leg up of being physically able to pay your bills promptly, minus the late fees, minus this, that, and the other. It is a form of getting rid of stress. So, one possibility that one can do is look into a temporary job in addition to whatever you're doing right now. Or you could look for side gigs already with the skills that you have to raise your income, to bring in more income. And once you hit that goal, you could continue doing that side thing if you really like it as long as you want. Or if you just want to do that to meet your goal, let's say that instead of 2,700, you want to bump it up to 3,000. Maybe you want to bring in $3,000 extra for the following month just to put away for future bills. And then you can keep on building upon that. Just think about all the stress that comes away with it. Wow, I know that I can easily pay my rent, not just, like skirting around the date due and, getting all that stress. No, earlier, for example, I'm just saying, or other bills, or knocking down some debt repayment. These are very important things. I think it's terrible that a lot of people live on the last month thing. What do you mean by that, Jen? Some people, um, they're just like basically paying off their last month's bills with nothing, to show for it for the following month. So this way, what you're doing is you're getting ahead of the game instead of reversing it, instead of living in the last month with extra fees, extra interest. You wouldn't believe how much money people are wasting, like literally throwing their hard-earned money in the garbage can. And I do believe this, that I wish more people would look at their bank statements every month to see the hidden fees that go on just from transactions that really aren't necessary, like out of network ATM fees, for example, bounce checks. Some people have that overdraft protection, but I think some people overuse it too many times. It's like sort of like a bad habit, or even just to add up one category. For example, some people are stunned to find out just how much money they are in fact spending on dining out. Some people, I don't know, they live in a delusional world, or they trick themselves into thinking, oh, it's not so bad. But the real fun of it is to look back at last month just to see, like I said, a lot of people just aren't mindful. And sometimes just being more mindful will correct the problem right then and there. Be mindful, track your expenses, fix it up, and then you're smooth sailing right then and there, which is great, which is the goal, right? Fix it up. And I'm telling you, in my honest, I believe it is less stressful to always know that every single month ahead of time that you could pay your following or your future bills is a good thing. And that's like training wheels. Okay. So to start at the 1 month level, okay, now I'm not even talking about an emergency fund. I'm not even talking about having a baby emergency fund. That's for a different show. Okay. I'm talking about having enough money for your actual living expenses. Okay. Once you complete that month, you might even decide to go for the next month. Why? Think of it like this. Okay. Suppose you have a job, you really think it's so secure, everything's all hunky dory, and then you walk in one day to see people filing out of the office one by one. I went through that. So I know what that is. Okay. So I know what that's about. I told that story several times, but that was way back in the day. Thankfully, I was prepared. I was ready just in case. I thought ahead of time. I have a tendency to think ahead of time. Is that always a good thing? I say it couldn't hurt, but I don't want to live in the future. I live in the moment of now. I enjoy my moment of now, but I do think ahead. Take a little time to think ahead. You see where I'm going with that? I believe that by getting 1 month ahead just on your bills and your everyday living expenses, be honest with yourself. Let's go back to those two words, self honesty. So when you're figuring out what the next month's expenses are going to be, that you want to ascertain in advance, and you will find ways to do it. Be self honest. Do I really need that extra 200? Like a budget buffer. I say it couldn't hurt, but if you're only able to meet all the bills, that's a start. It's a start, and then perhaps the following month you can bump it up. So getting a temporary job is very, very important. Let's talk a second about debt repayment. I also, in my opinion, I think that it's also a great idea to get rid of, whatever way you like to do it. Some people rather pay their biggest, highest interest cards off first. Some people rather pay the tiniest thing off completely, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Either way, whatever works for you, whatever works for you, that is what counts. All right, next. So I like to imagine a frugal toolbox, sort of like a magic box with frugal tools. Okay. Take out all the frugal tools, tips, and tricks from wherever you can get them. And on this wonderful platform, there is a plethora of information. Like literally, you could drown yourself in those videos. But write the notes down of things that resonate that can really help you as an individual. So I highly recommend that. Take an hour or so, and in any time you can, like maybe once or twice a week, and like sort of like make it a tutorial day, like a study hall, like when you were in school. Next, have a no spend weekend. Oh, yeah, this is a good idea. Listen to this. The previous month, have a no spend weekend at least one time during a month. But get busy during that no spend weekend. Have your friends and family involved and go around your home or apartment to look for things that can be sold. This time, the emphasis is for selling, okay? Because you want to work to that goal of having all your expenses met for the next month in anticipation of the bills, okay? So one weekend, declutter. The following weekend, have a garage or yard sale. This is the time of the year to take full advantage of that. And people are all too willing to see what they could get at a great price. And you'll be saving some money towards a future bill. Next, bring lunch to work every single day for just the 1 month before. This will help speed up savings. Absolutely. If you're spending $7, $8, $10 a day on lunch, do the math. Couldn't that go towards your next month's bills and make it a less worrisome month? Think about that. And it puts you in the driver's seat and ahead of the game. And the same goes for drinking coffee at home. We all know the coffee story. Make it more fun. Put in a traveling mug. Go sit in a local playground or park or your porch or your backyard if you're blessed to have one, or on your terrace if you have one. And just like sit there and just like breathe, take it in and go, oh, I love my coffee or my tea or whatever, and not have to spend all that excess money. And you'll be happy and secure in the knowledge that you're making a dent in your future months of bill paying. And if at all possible, save $50 each week for miscellaneous expenses next month. That's a great way to hit that $100 to $200 extra goal besides what you have anticipated. I know that this idea will help at least one person out there. If anyone implements these ideas, please let me know in the comments section below. If you found value in this video, I really appreciate if you take a second of your life and tap on the like button. Don't forget to share this video. And of course, as always, super thanks are always welcome. I thank you so much. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourself and your lovely family. Thank you.